Hello, welcome to another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. This is a 4,000 point battle between Legions of Chaos and Legions of Undead. I'm using Chaos and my deployment from left to right. I've got 5 Warhounds with Vanguard, Skullcannon, 5 Skullcrushers. That's 2 Beastmen Shamans, one with a Herdstone, Tzeentch level 2 Spellcaster, a Hellcannon, 3 Plague Drones, a Great Unclean one, 31 Chaos Warriors with halberds and a BSB, 20 Plaguebearers. This model is a Chaos Lord on a disc, Beast of Nurgle, 5 Hellstriders, 5 more Warhounds and 5 Putrid Blightkings.
So the Undead Legions, we've got a Terrorgeist, 40 Crypt Ghouls, 6 Curtain Chariots. These are 40 Graveguard with a corpse cart behind, and there's a Tomb Prince in there as well. 20 zombies with a Master Necromancer, another Terrorgeist, 37 Skeletons, and this Banshee model here is another Necromancer, just level 2. This awesome Elspeth von Draken model, I'm using it as a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon because he just looks so cool. A black coach at the back there, that is a proxy for a Casket of Souls, 3 Necropolis Knights and a Necrosphinx.
Warriors won the first turn, and basically most things just moved up as much as they can, while Skullcrushers took 2 wounds from dangerous terrain, which is really annoying. We realised that the Plague Drones should be skirmishers, so they've now moved in front of the passable terrain. Everyone else just marched up. These guys are on the hill. My Beast of Nurgle is quite far forwards, and Blightkings just marched up, but they moved 4. Okay, so on to magic. In the magic phase, I roll Glorious Rock, which is a roll of a 6, I think. So roll for every enemy unit on the board that's not in combat, and on a 6 they take some damage. I actually did 3 wounds to the Terrorgeist there, got really lucky, and 1 wound to the Black Coach. Also hit the Casket of Souls, but that didn't take any wounds. And the only spell I managed to cast was I summoned another Beast of Nurgle, which is represented by another Spawn model. And in the shooting phase, combined fire from the Skullcannon and the Hellcannon did 3 wounds to this Terrorgeist. There's no combat, so we're on to Vampires or Legion of Undead turn 1.
Undead Legions turn 1, Terrorgeist number 1 flew up here, ready to scream these guys. The whole back line didn't really move at all, well it didn't move. This Terrorgeist flew over here. Necrosphinx flew over here, Vampire Lord just moved forward a little bit, mainly to get the cover from the cannon from that house. Obviously nice just moved a little bit, the Black Coach moved up, and that's all. So the turn 1 Undead Legions magic phase started off with this Necromancer, casting Rise the Grave Call and therefore summoning originally 33 zombies.
Yeah.
Then the Master Necromancer cast Invocation of Nahek, and he's got Master of the Dead, which means he can summon more skeletons, which are back there, and obviously he added to this and this, and because of the Corpse Cart's Unholy Lodestone, I got to re-roll the number of people raised, so I've now got an extra, I think 11 zombies here, 12 zombies there, and an extra 10 skeletons as well, and I also healed 2 wounds on the Terrorgeist, 1 with the spell and 1 with the Law Attribute, and I healed the spell on the healed the wound on the Black Coach as well.
And Irresistible Force.
Oh, and I did Irresistible Force, yes I did Irresistible Force, and I got 8, which meant that all wizards on my side take a strength 6 hit. Didn't wound the Master, thankfully, 1 wound on that guy, and then didn't wound the Vampire Lord either, so that was a pretty good turn really. So last of all, for Undead Legions turn 1 is a summary of the shooting phase because there's no combat. Terrorgeist screamed them and didn't do anything. Chariots which we fear almost every battle. But in this one, they are actually armed with bows, so they all shot at the beast and took one wound off. And this Terrorgeist was also rubbish, screamed the Hellstriders and just killed one.
So Chaos turn 2, summarising the movement phase. I charged this Terrorgeist with the Skullcrushers. Charged a summon unit of zombies with my warriors, and the summoned Beast of Nurgle made its charge against the chariots. My Lord charged this Terrorgeist here, the one that was healed up. I had to charge my Warhounds into the Necropolis Knights to get them out of the way, so that these Putrid Blightkings could get a flank charge on the Necrosphinx, and also my Beast of Nurgle went to the front. And in other movement, these Hellstriders, they won't sit on the hill properly, so I've just marked the top and the base of the unit. The Plaguebearers moved to the top of the hill. Unfortunately, the Plague Drones couldn't make it over the impassable terrain, so they had to move to the side. Marks a great Unclean one straight up. Skullcannons just sort of come around more to the side, although with the Skullcrushers being there, it can't really get a good shot at anything this turn, I don't think. And these hounds just came around to the flank. The Chaos turn 2 magic phase. At the start of the phase, I got something like Storm of Fire, that it was a bunch of templates that could hit enemy units, and it ended up scattering onto the Graveguard and killing 8 of them. Then I cast Infernal Gateway onto the ghouls. I got an 11 for the strength, and ended up killing 10 plus 3 more with the Warp Flame special rule. And that was all in the magic phase. So the end of the combat phase in Chaos turn 2, a bit of a mixed bag. Basically, starting over on the left hand side, the Skullcrushers annihilated the Terrorgeist, but over around 12, so they're out the game for a little bit, but at least that Terrorgeist is gone. This combat went as well as could be expected. I lost combat, but Nurgle Ascendant, so this beast is holding up the chariots. But in the rest of the combats, the warriors, I think with killing and with the crumble, they killed 23 of the zombies, so obviously eating through that unit, but it's going to take a while. This combat with the Terrorgeist and the Chaos Lord, I did 2 wounds, but they were both saved by the 6+ regen, and so that turns out the Terrorgeist has suffered a total of 2 altogether. Worst of all though was the combat with the Necrosphinx. He killing blowed one of the Blightkings. Actually, kind of didn't realise or forgot that he's got killing blow in his regular attacks. So that meant that he only lost combat by a couple. He took 1 wound, so he's still got 2 left, and the Vampire Lord's positioned to charge them next turn. So that's the end of Chaos turn 2.
Undead turn 2 movement. Vampire Lord charged into the rear of the Putrid Blightkings. The unit of skeletons marched up and are now garrisoning this building. Ghouls move round a little bit. Serpents move around a little bit, and that's all. Fairly uneventful Undead magic phase. Master Necromancer started by casting Invocation with 6 dice, got a shockingly bad roll, which was Dispel scrolls. I tried to cast Rise with the Necromancer that's in there, and that was dispelled. And that's it.
And shooting the Terrorgeist screamed at the Chaos Lord, did 2 wounds, but the ward saved both of them.
Undead Legions combat phase turn 2. This beast, I can't remember how many wounds he did, but basically in the end of the combat he suffered 1 wound, and the chariots suffered 4. So 1 died and there's 1 wound off there. Warriors easily finished off the rest of the zombies, taking no wounds in return. And over here, the Necrosphinx died to the poisoned attacks of the beast, so he did really well. And the Vampire Lord quite easily wiped out the Putrid Blightkings. Didn't kill them, but they fled, and she caught them and now overrun into that beast. That's where it stands.
So it's Chaos turn 3, into the movement phase. The Plague Drones charge the ghouls. Great and Unclean one charges the Graveguard, and the warriors charge the Graveguard, but are also in combat with the zombies. My Lord charges the Vampire Lord, and in other movement, 2 wizards move towards the centre of the board. These hounds spend ages trying to get round and just sort of get to this position on the hill. And a Skullcrusher, because they don't have a musician, just reform. Hellstriders move over here, and that's it. In the magic phase, it ended up as 6 power dice versus 2 dispel dice. I tried to get a Curse of the Leper off on the warriors, but that was dispel scrolled, and then I didn't manage to successfully cast the regen spell on them, so nothing happened in that magic phase. So in shooting, my Hellcannon failed its leadership test and rampage forwards, only to be halted just by this Bray Shaman. And then the Skullcannon couldn't get an angle to shoot anything, so nothing happened there. So on to combat. So it's the end of Chaos turn 3, end of the combat phase. So the Plague Drones didn't do very well, they lost 1, they only killed a couple, forgot to stomp with them actually. But they didn't do very well at all. Basically I've got a -1 ward from the magic phase as well. Beast still holding out, doing really well for, well, it's free anyway, but it's only worth 60 points, so it's holding up that unit. This combat could have gone better, but still I've wiped out quite a lot of the Graveguard and a few of the zombies. 1 combat, but the Graveguard did hurt the warriors, killing 8, and put a wound on the Great Unclean one, which you need to mark. It's got 5 wounds left. This combat was very good. The Chaos Lord just weathered all the attacks with his 3+ ward reroll 1s, so he actually won combat and did altogether 1 wound to the dragon, causing it to take another 2 from crumble, and he suffered none in return. Undead turn 3 movement phase. The only movement is this black coat just charged the flank of the warriors. Do you want to move the snake, guys?
No.
No, so that's all for the movement phase. Undead magic phase, the Necromancer summoned with Law of Undeath and got 20 zombies, which are now stopping the Plaguebearers from charging. I let that spell through. A couple of invocations were tried from the vampire and also over here, but it was a poor roll and I dispelled it, so no invocations, which is what I was mainly concerned about. So Undead turn 3 combat, end of the turn. The Plague Drones did poorly again, only killed 1 this time even with Stomp, and lost another 1, so there's 1 left. Beast is still rocking those chariots and it's probably going to eat the unit. This combat in the middle was extremely close. In fact, I think it came out draw because I took quite a few wounds and didn't do very well with the warriors and took the impact hits. Allocated a few attacks onto Necromancer, but he's got 5+ ward and only did 2 wounds to him. So in the end it was a draw, bit worrying, but hopefully next turn I'll finish those units off. Big thing over here though, the Chaos Lord killed the dragon thanks to wounds and crumble. That was the dragon's death screech. And so now the Chaos Lord is just in combat with the vampire, and the beast is now free, not in combat. A Chaos turn 4 now, end of the movement phase. Skullcrushers couldn't really get in at the angle they were at, so they've moved round to behind the ghouls. No one in the middle can move. Obviously charged the Plaguebearers into this raised unit of 20 zombies. The beast has moved in front of the snake surface, is that their official name? I think. Necropolis Knights. And the Hellstriders managed to squeeze through there. And then basically my 3 wizards back here have all come back to be within 6 inches of the Herdstone. And that's it. Magic was a very good phase. I got off both spells that I tried to cast. So they're now toughness 6 on the warriors from Curse of the Leper, and they have 5+ regen. I tried to summon a wizard over here with Summon Undead Legions, but I didn't cast it. So end of Chaos turn 4, end of the combat phase. this combat, it went pretty well for Chaos, and basically the Graveguard are all dead, and I think I won by 4, which also just about killed the Black Coach. And then combat reformed to be facing the zombies. I killed the Necromancer as well in combat. Plaguebearers killed most of the zombies, but not enough to kill them all. And the Chaos Lord did 1 wound to the vampire, took none in return, so the vampire crumbled. So that's pretty much gutted the undead army, and just got to see what happens next. Oh, and before I forget, I'll just add that this plague drone survived now with 1 wound left. The ghouls, I think, did 1 wound to it, so it's managed to hold them up for quite a long time. And the beast is still there, of course. So, Undead turn 4, we get the Necro Knights charging the beast. Corpse Cart just thinks, why not, and charges the Chaos Warriors, since it can't get out of the way of them anyway, it's going to die if it doesn't charge them. And the Casket sneaks behind this terrain so that the Hellstriders can't charge it next turn. In the magic phase, there was a Rise cast which summoned a lot of zombies there to block off the access to getting the Casket Souls, and then the Casket cast its Light of Death and killed 2 Hellstriders. Undead turn 5, end of combat. The ghouls finally killed the Plague Drone and turn around to face Skullcrushers. And the beast, I think he killed another chariot that turn, didn't he? So he's killed 4 of them so far. All the zombies in the corpse cart died to the Chaos Warriors. Plaguebearers obviously killed the 5 zombies. Vampire already died, right? That was last turn, was it? Yeah. So the beast did a wound and didn't take any return over here. So now it's Chaos turn 5. The Skullcrushers charge the ghouls. Great Unclean one charges the chariots. Don't bother moving either of these. My Lord doesn't charge the knights because they've got, I think, Killing Blow, and he can be Killing Blowed, so he's flown over there. I haven't done anything else, because if I move those around there, the Casket can still move out of the charge arc, so I can't really get that now. So on to magic. So basically, in the magic phase, nothing happens. I don't think there's anything worth risking a miscast and risking the Great Unclean one dying for at this stage in the game. And shooting, I try and shoot at the Casket, but it just scatters off, so we'll just go straight on to combat. It's the end of Chaos turn 5. Skullcrushers killed all the ghouls with attacks and crumble. Great Unclean one and the beast killed chariots, and the beast survives with 1 wound remaining. That's pretty much it. I mean, over here, take a wound apiece. And now we're on to Undead turn 5. Okay, so this is the end of the game, basically end of Undead turn 5, and Undead concede. Nothing really happens in this turn, and yeah, I mean, there's no point continuing at this stage. So we totaled up the victory points. What we got? Undead scored 503, but Chaos scored 3,305, so it's a big victory for Chaos. And after discussing it for a bit, I think on reflection, Undead suffer from the lack of characters being able to exploit the lore of undeath. And Chaos are really strong at this level of game as well. So a lot of poor rolls from Undead as well, I think, especially with the Vampire Lord. But we both enjoyed the game, as ever, as it's Warhammer Fantasy. And and hopefully we'll play, well actually we decided we'll do a rematch of this game at some point, with but with special characters, so we can have a Mortark or maybe Nagash or something on the Undead side. So that's it, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the battle report, and see you next time.